All right, everyone. You've all been recruited because you're the worst of the worst.
We have a mission for you, one there will be no coming back from. If you are successful in this mission, rest
What you got
assured
roped into
you
this
will be
time?
duly compensated. However, you should know that participation is not voluntary. You have no choice in this matter.
All right. What's our mission? Toppling a fascist regime? Making our own Goku versus Superman video? No, nothing like that. Our mission for you is to review yet another Suicide Squad book. Well, that doesn't sound so bad. Prominently featuring Harley Quinn. Fuck. Hey everybody, Daniel here. Now today I'm going to be taking a little break from versus debating and power scaling on my boy Superman and do a little comic review. Now, don't worry, I do have some cool stuff in that regard coming down the pipeline, but it's taken me a little bit longer to put together than I would have thought, and I wanted to cover this comic while it's still relatively fresh. Today I wanted to talk about a comic book I've been a little bit excited for, and that is Suicide Squad Dream Team.
Just real quick now, a little story time. Now, Suicide Squad is a book series I've been reading on and off for over a decade now. And my opinion on what makes one of these books good is pretty strong. It's a series that is easy to catch my attention, but just as easy for me to drop. But I don't want to bog us down in those details just yet. Instead, I would like to get into the star of this miniseries and what piqued my interest, Nia Now. Nia Now made her debut appearance in Supergirl, a show I do not care for and will not cover, on October 14th, 2018, in the episode American Alien. But that's not where I met her. No, I was introduced to her via Superman. While trying to power through Tom Taylor's Son of Kal-El run, another book that I just didn't jive with. In issue 13, they introduced a character I honestly found intriguing. They had the abilities of precognition and were able to move through dreams. It was a power set that came across as unique to me. Couple that with a costume I liked and the way she interacted with John, and I was honestly ready to read more. And a quick little tangent here. Listen, I'm a 36-year-old man, so I usually don't get into the whole shipping thing. But the few appearances Dreamer has had with John has just had way more chemistry than anything he's had with Jay, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying DC needs to break up John and Jay and make Dreamer and John a couple, but I really would like to see them in a book together, maybe like an ongoing series. Heck, you could embrace the corniness and call it American Dream. I think that'd be hilarious. Anyway, tangent over. Nia Now, superhero named Dreamer, created by Robert Romer and Jessica Queller, sorry if I mispronounced those names, is a Notorian human hybrid and depicted as an ancestor of Neuronel, Dream Girl. And in Supergirl, she was played by Nicole Maines. Her first appearance, at least in comics, was in DC Pride #1, June 2020. What a year. And on July 12th that same year, Nia dreamscaped her way into main continuity in the before mentioned Son of Kal-El #13. Since then, she's cropped up in comic books here and there, namely in the Teen Titans Beast World event. She's also shown up in event books, Action Comics, and Superman. Action Comics is actually what led into this miniseries. Now, as always, spoilers for the first issue. As I said, this miniseries was actually set up in Action Comics 1060. That's sort of a sad comic book practice, setting up stories in unrelated books in hopes of there being a crossover in interests. Now, it worked on someone like me, But just because someone likes Superman doesn't necessarily mean they would like Suicide Squad or even like Dreamer for that matter. I'm not going to ding the book for this, but I felt like it was worth mentioning that the story actually starts in a Superman comic.
So let's talk about the book. The writer is. Wait a minute.
Nicole Maines, the actress who portrayed Dreamer?
Huh. Does that make this book a self insert? Maybe. Does it even matter? I guess it doesn't. After all, the character really does seem to mean a lot to Nicole. After all, she's helped craft her to be part of trans representation in DC Comics. Sadly, she just doesn't have a lot of writing credits to her name outside of appearances that I've mentioned in this review. But I have praised the chemistry between Dreamer and John up to this point. So maybe a self insert isn't bad if that is what you want to call this. To me, I just think it's a character that someone has a lot of personal attachment to. Yeah, there's nothing inherently wrong with a self insert, as long as you're still enjoying the story that's being told. Yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't know until I started doing research for this video. Go figure.
And overall, I like the writing, save one exception, which we'll get to. The premise is pretty standard as far as Suicide Squad books go. Amanda Waller recruits a team to do the dirty work that the heroes won't. Only this time, Amanda also recruits Dreamer. The story opens with some team introductions and then segues into a flashback sequence that reveals Dreamer has been doing work for Amanda Waller, but has strong disagreements with how the wall chooses to blackmail a senator to effect change instead of making him pay for his crimes, which are implied to be very bad. Sensing resistance in Dreamer's compliance, Waller does what she does best and forces it. The book actually follows up some events set up in Superman's Son of Kal-El, with Amanda Waller wanting the team to go into the country of Gamora. After the fall of the villain Bendix, the Wall wants the squad to take control of Gamora's defense systems so that the United States can prop up a puppet regime. That way, she can see to it that the country's resources are put to proper use.
Like I said, pretty standard Suicide Squad plot. And that's okay. I like my Suicide Squad plots to be a little simple. It works for what's supposed to be a disposable team, and after all, the team is what's most important here.
It's my opinion that these books work best when you use obscure characters who writers can get us to like, but are also willing to kill off. Otherwise, the squad just doesn't feel like the squad to me. So, who are we working with? We have Clock King, a Green Arrow Batman villain who's obsessed with being on time. Deadeye, aka Archie Waller, the psychic mercenary nephew of Amanda Waller, who I didn't even know existed. Black Alice, a villain I'm completely unfamiliar with. Bizarro, who seems to be a different Bizarro than the one recently featured in Action Comics, and maybe he's one of the clone versions, but I can't really be sure. The continuity is a little confusing to me. And, of course, Harley Quinn. Look, you know who this is. My mother knows who this is. And her inclusion is the only one that screams obligatory marketing character. Look, I get it. She's popular. I'm just sick of her, especially modern Harley Quinn. She is in everything and honestly deserves her own video and the reasons I'm just not into her. And if you like her, great. Just right now, not for me. But what about Nora Nale Dreamer? Dreamer is front and center in the story, and so far seems to be driving the overall themes. This is brought to the forefront in her confrontation with Waller, and also later in the story. Again, spoilers. When Nora is first to take too many people through the dream realm to infiltrate Gamora, her powers work by entering and exiting through people's dreams. She freaking kills a guy she came out of. I tell you what, that actually shocked me. DC had the hero accidentally kill a civilian. She then reveals the same thing happened to her mother. Honestly, that was pretty great. It's a good hook for the character, and it all culminates into Dreamer's precog revealing destruction that Amanda Waller likely planned all along. That's pretty cool. Too bad Harley's the one to give her the pep talk after all of this goes down. So, as far as writing and story is concerned, I'm on board. We have a team, minus Harley, that feel obscure and disposable. The squad is on a mission that feels real for the caliber of villains being used, and there is some genuine emotion. And I think Dreamer feels so consistent to me right now because of Nicole Main's continued involvement. Even if there are parts of the dialogue that feel a little bit off to me, I can still feel the character. It being a limited series also means the plot is likely mapped out, which usually helps with a lot of the pacing. What I'm really not feeling is the art. Eddie Barrows just isn't doing it for me. The faces just feel off, especially Dreamer and Harley. I think it looks fine on characters like Waller and Bizarro, but on a bunch of the others, it just doesn't feel right to me. Though the coloring by Drino Lucas and the inker Eber Ferreira, I think that's how the name's pronounced, they do a great job. Maybe it'll grow on me, but right now it's just not my jam. But artists all have their own strengths and weaknesses. So I'd like to give some praise to the Dream Realm. For example, like the birds and the way the dreams are drawn, I think are just really beautiful and vibrant and dreamlike. And maybe as time goes on, it'll all grow on me, and I'll see more of the strengths.
Overall, I think it's a pretty good first issue. It has all the potential to be a good Suicide Squad book, but time remains to be seen. It's certainly not the worst thing to be released under that banner recently, though, am I right?
We're talking about you, live service game.
Here's hoping Dreamer gets a little bit more attention in the future and I get that team up book with John American Dream soon. Oh, man. What? It's not that corny. Don't pay any attention to him. Anyway, some of you might not know this, but I do have some new videos coming up in the future. One of them on Superman and his weakness to magic, prominently featuring Jason Aaron's run on Action Comics. I also plan on doing a sleeving video for Magic the Gathering, where I'm going to discuss frequently asked questions that I get about Superman via my DMs and sometimes in my comment section, and just ones that I've come across in general. So if you have anything you'd like to ask, feel free to jump down into the comments and leave them there. And if you go in that direction, also make sure to like and subscribe and all that other YouTube nonsense. And that's been Daniel with Truth, Justice, and all that other nonsense. I'll catch you next time.